What's going on, fam? This is your Jumpstart for Monday, July 30th, coming from Judges chapter 18. Now, Judges chapter 18, to give you a brief summary, it's the Danites, the tribe of Dan. They haven't yet gotten their land, or they haven't yet subdued and fought the people who are in their land. They decide, hey, we're going to find someplace that's a lot easier. They find this group of people who are doing well. They're living peaceful, chill lives. And they're like, man, those look like some great people to conquer. And so they go, they rob a man on the way of his gods. And they're like, man, you got your own personal priest? Hey, personal priest, you work for us now. Straight Suge Knight gangster style. You work for us now. And tell us how God feels about this. Us and our 600 army men behind us. The priest says, yeah, God says y'all are going to be great. Y'all are go get them. So then they go and they pillage this group of people and establish it as the land of Dan in the name of Yahweh. So obviously there are a few problems here. But I think it's important that we break down the heart of this, because sometimes we're a little closer to this than we may think. Now, there are three reasons that Dr. Thomas L. Constable quotes for them wanting the land. One was because it was quiet and secure. They had everything they needed there. Two was there was no one to submit to, no one running over them. They wanted to do their own thing. And three, there was no one around to disagree with them or who had the power to stop them. They found themselves discontent with God's provision and hiding from God's sovereignty, and it transformed them into opportunistic pillagers. And brothers and sisters, when we find ourselves discontent with what God has given us, with his provision, and hiding from God's sovereignty, bending his rules and his wills to fit our needs, we can do the same thing. Recently, a couple years ago, I saw that there was a new church established in town, and I saw them announcing it on Facebook. And a lot of my more progressive, less religious friends just lamented, oh gosh, another church. And I watched their conversation and talked with them a little bit. And what they said bothered me, because they said, man, churches, for one, they aren't paying taxes. They don't really care about the people around them, and they'll do whatever they want to do to get their way. And the problem was, I couldn't disagree with them fully. I have seen us, God's people, act in this way. In fact, even as we minister to people, the Bible says that we'll be known for our love, but often we're more known for what we're against or what we condemn than what we actually are for and see as right. The Bible instructs us to, yes, judge between right and wrong, but not to condemn, because that is in the Lord's hands. But sometimes we act more like pillagers than disciples. So, three things to assess in our lives. Look at the goals that you have for yourself. Do you see God's fingerprint, handprint, his word on the direction that you're moving for the future? If you do, step two, look at the method. Are you submitting to God's heart in how you're going about achieving your goals? Or are you using God's name to justify practices and treatment that go against God's heart? And then third, look at your interpersonal relationships. Is the way that you treat those around you, those who are in the space, on the way to get to where you claim that God is calling you to go, in alignment with God's heart? If not, you may need to go back and reassess. Am I actually content with what God has provided me with? Or am I looking to get bigger and better, and just for what I think is bigger and better, and just putting God's name on it? Continue to power up, pour in, and spill out. And we'll see you next week on Jumpstart or at church.